Hi, and welcome to the W.E. O'Neill Construction Project Safety Orientation video. Here at W.E. O'Neill, our number one priority is the safety of our subcontractors and the public. We expect our workers to maintain a safe work site for themselves and those around them. During this 15-minute video, you will be introduced to some basic rules of the job site that will help make this project safer for everyone. So please follow along with our video and feel free to ask your W.E. O'Neill safety representative if you have any questions during or after the video. Once you are satisfied that you understand this project's risks, rules, and procedures, you will be asked to sign an acknowledgement form, after which you will receive a hard hat safety decal as proof of completing this orientation. Make sure that the hard hat you wear in this project always has the safety decal on it. Otherwise, you will be asked to leave the site and your company will be subject to disciplinary action. You have been provided with a copy of the safety orientation for future reference. Remember that safety begins with good judgment and responsible actions on your part. Cal OSHA and Fed OSHA rules and regulations are to be followed at all times. Personal protective equipment. Hard hats and eye protection are to be worn at all times on this project while within the fence line or during any work outside the fence. All workers and visitors on the project site must wear brightly colored shirts or reflective safety vests. Please take note of the acceptable colors that may be worn. If any other colors are worn, it will not be considered acceptable and you will receive a disciplinary action. Whenever any worker is required to work adjacent to traffic, that worker is required to wear a traffic-rated safety vest with 2-inch reflective stripes. Hearing protection will be worn in the form of earmuffs or approved earplugs during all high noise level tasks. Respiratory protection is to be worn whenever respiratory hazards are present. And remember, always refer to your company's respiratory protection policy for additional information. Any employee wearing a respirator must be clean-shaven and have received proper training. Each respirator must be properly cleaned and stored per the manufacturer's requirements. Whenever there is no respiratory hazard but a worker wishes to wear a dust mask for convenience, dust masks can be worn without a medical exam, training, or fit testing. Proper clothing. All workers must wear clothes suited to the job. No dangling or loose clothing around moving machinery will be permitted. Shirts with a minimum of 4-inch sleeves are required. No muscle shirts, tank tops, or midriffs are permitted. Long pants are required and they can only be jean or cotton material. Shorts and skirts are forbidden on the job site. Work boots or hard-soled shoes are required at all times. No sandals, flip-flops, or tennis shoes will be permitted. Fire protection and housekeeping. Fire protection is everyone's responsibility, and good housekeeping is the most important fire prevention. Whenever you are performing work that produces a flame or a spark, you are required to have filled out a hot work permit and will have a fire extinguisher nearby. Please speak with your superintendent for specific requirements when performing hot work. Good housekeeping is everyone's responsibility and needs to be maintained at all times and all phases of the project. Flammable or hazardous waste shall be placed in covered containers separate from the normal debris open-top dumpsters. Subcontractors are responsible to remove all hazardous waste from the job site and will not use the regular construction waste dumpsters for this hazardous waste. Paint, stucco washout, and any other trades requiring washout of tools will be done in approved washout containers. Please take a moment to review the list on this page of typical hazardous waste that will not be disposed of in regular construction dumpsters on site. Materials which could leak or spill must be stored in double containment. SWIP BMP must be maintained and restored to working condition if damaged. Any damaged or removal of BMPs must be reported to the WEP project team immediately. No materials of any kind are to be poured or allowed to run into the storm drain system. Electrical cords and GFCIs. GFCI protection will be used on all extension cords. If electrical outlets are not GFCI protected, then GFCI pigtails will be used. All extension cords, tools, and equipment shall be inspected prior to each use, and any defective equipment shall be removed from the site. Any modified or defective tools and/or damaged cords found by a W.E. O'Neill representative will be removed from the site by that W.E. O'Neill representative. Electrical power tools must be double insulated or grounded. Household electrical cords and plug strips are not allowed in the construction areas on the project site. Fall protection. All employees are required to be protected from falls 6 feet and above. If guardrails or nets are not in place, personal fall protection systems are required. Please take a moment to review the list below of common fall hazards. And remember, if a situation feels unsafe to you, then stop work immediately and notify your. Drugs and alcohol are not allowed to be used on this project premise, nor is anyone allowed onto the site who is under the influence of drugs and/or alcohol. If smoking is allowed on the site, it will be in designated areas only. Please ask your project superintendent if and where smoking may be allowed on the site. Drug testing may be requested for any worker that is acting suspicious. Ladders and rolling scaffolding. Always keep 3 points of contact when climbing and/or doing work from ladders. Inspect ladders before each and every use. Always face the ladder when climbing up or down. Only one person on each ladder at a time. Never stand on the top 3 rungs of an extension ladder or the top 2 rungs of an A-frame ladder. And keep all steps of the ladder free of any grease, oil, wet paint, mud, or anything else that can create an unsafe standing surface. Any ladder used to access an upper landing shall be secured against sideways movement and/or held by another worker. Any ladder used around electrical equipment or work shall be non-metallic. All rolling scaffold frames shall be cross-braced and wheels are to be locked at all times when scaffold is in use. No surfing the rolling scaffold. Relocating the scaffold shall be done from the ground level. Keep the working surface of the scaffold clear and inspect the scaffold before. Heat illness protection. Heat illness is a serious medical condition resulting from the body's inability to cope with an increased heat load. Heat illness may be mild initially, but can be severe if the body temperature continues to rise. Heat illness can also affect a worker's performance and increase their risk of having accidents. Supervisors, foremen, and workers should look continuously for signs and symptoms of heat illness in themselves and fellow workers. Please take a moment and review the table below for visible signs of the stages of heat illness and the proper actions to take. Subcontractors must provide plenty of cool water in convenient visible locations close to the work area. The water should be palatable and between 50 to 60 degrees. Every worker must be provided 1 pint of water per hour. Workers should drink 8 ounces of water every 15 minutes. Subcontractors must provide access to shade when the temperature is at or above 80 degrees, and that shade area must provide enough shade for 25% of their on-site workforce. Material Safety Data Sheets, or MSDS, are provided by each subcontractor and intended to provide all workers with procedures for handling or working with that substance in a safe manner. All safety data sheets are available to you for review in the W. E. O'Neill Construction Trade. First aid kits and fire extinguishers. Each subcontractor must have their own first aid kits on site with sufficient supplies to aid all workers. W. E. O'Neill's first aid kit is located at the construction trailer or in the job site superintendent's truck. Please inform a W. E. O'Neill employee before the use of any products from the first aid kit. Each subcontractor is to provide fire extinguishers for their own work. W. E. O'Neill provides general fire extinguishers throughout the project. These fire extinguishers are not to be moved unless to be used in the case of an emergency. All incidents, near misses, and injuries are to be reported immediately to a W. E. O'Neill supervisor. Written incident reports and witness statements must be completed and forwarded to W. E. O'Neill supervisor by the end of the day. Workers must follow both their company's safety policies and procedures and W. E. O'Neill safety requirements. Failure to follow policies and/or procedures will result in disciplinary action and possible discharge from the W. E. O'Neill job. In your packet, you have been provided with an emergency medical services plan and directions to the closest hospital. Please take the time to review both the emergency medical services plan and the location of the closest hospital. Please ask your WEO representative if you have any questions. In the event of a serious injury, do not attempt to drive yourself to the hospital. Please call 911 first and notify a W. E. O'Neill representative. Also provided in your packet is an emergency evacuation plan for this job. Please take the time to review this plan in depth and discuss with your W. E. O'Neill representative. In the event of a serious incident on site, like a fire or earthquake, W. O'Neill asks that no one leaves the site until released by the job site superintendent. Follow your foreman's directions and meet in the designated evacuation area. Head counts must be taken before anyone leaves the site to ensure that no one has been left behind. The last sheet of your packet is an acknowledgement form for this orientation. You are required to fill out and sign this form. Once done, you will receive a project-specific sticker from your W.E. O'Neill representative that shows you have completed the orientation and are allowed to work on site. This sticker is to be placed on your hard hat and be visible at all times while working on this project. Anyone seen working without the sticker will be asked to leave the site for the day and then will be required to take the orientation before working again on site. This concludes the safety orientation for this project. If you have any questions about what has been covered in this video or anything that was not covered, please do not hesitate to ask your W.E. O'Neill representative now. W.E. O'Neill wants you to be safe, and to do that you must have the knowledge and understanding of how to work safely, because safety starts with you.